Hi, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Upsurge. Real people, real conversation, real questions, real answers. Upsurge, where the surge is always up. We're here another evening. Lexi, it's been a tremendous blessing meeting with all these guests week after week. Huh?
It has been. It's been a great experience.
And this week we have in studio
We have Dr. Sasha Black.
Sasha Black.
Yes.
I know a little bit about her. I think you'll be interviewing her.
I will be interviewing her.
I'll be in the chill room with her husband, and maybe one or two people might pop in, but she did tell me that her husband is her main support.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
so nice. So, I know she's the first black.
She's going to tell us the list of first, so
It's a whole lot of firsts.
I know you're not going to remember.
You have to stay tuned. This is Upsurge. Real people, real conversations, real questions, real answers. Upsurge, where the surge is always up.
All right, welcome back to Upsurge, where the surge is always up. Joining me, I have Dr. Sasha Black. Thank you so much for being here and joining us today on Upsurge. We're just going to start off. You have an amazing story, and I know we're not going to get through the whole thing. So if you can just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself. What do you do, your family? Just tell me about you.
All right. So Sasha Black, and I'm a veterinarian. I studied in the U.S. And started in Jamaica, born and raised Jamaica, and then moved to the U.S. for my studies, Tuskegee University. And after which moved here to Canada, following the love of my life. And started out in laboratory animal medicine, in research, worked for some pharmaceutical companies, and then retired my first time, after which I went into private practice, and I'm here looking forward to my second and last retirement.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. You do not look like you're ready for retirement.
No. I'm much older than you think. 40 is in my rearview mirror.
What?
I have a great husband, and I have two amazing sons.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. You have what sounds like a remarkable life. So what made you choose veterinary medicine? Because to be honest, you are the first Black vet that I have ever encountered, met, talked to. So why veterinary medicine?
Well, when I was 4 years old, I wanted to be a human doctor. I think the big thing then, growing up, especially in Jamaica, everybody wants to be, doctor, lawyer, teacher, firefighter, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so that started the journey of my career path at 4. But I grew up on my granddad owned a farm.
Okay.
And so when you talk about real work ethic, that man is pretty much the meaning of it in the dictionary. And he would take us to the farm at 4 or 5 in the mornings with him. And just by going, every time the cows or the goats or stuff would get sick, he'd call these guys in. They're all men at the time. And I see them with these things around their necks, and they listen to the animals and they do some things.
Yeah.
And the animals would get better. So, I'm like, wow, these guys are geniuses,
Yeah.
So I told my granddad, I said, when I grow up, up, I want to be a genius. Just like those guys. And
Yeah.
so at 6 years old, I decided I was going to become a genius, not knowing was just, all I had to do was to study. I had to do what those guys did.
Yeah.
So my ambition was to be a genius at 6 years old. And for me, that translated, I guess, to being a veterinarian.
Okay.
And I never changed, you know. All my school teachers, my primary school teachers and stuff, on my journey growing up, when they meet me later on in life, they're like, you know, every year you write your composition. It starts with, when I grow up,
Yeah.
I'm going to be a veterinarian. and they're surprised because they're like, you know what, you stayed true to the course.
Yeah.
I never changed. I never ever wanted to be anything else but a veterinarian. So it's been ingrained in me, I guess, from my granddad.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
growing up with the animals and just the interactions with the animals. We always collected animals and brought them in the house, and he wasn't a fan of that part. But
So a lot of pets growing up.
we had a lot of dogs outside.
Okay. No inside.
They
pets.
couldn't come inside. We tried.
Okay.
We tried, but they couldn't come inside.
Okay. Do you have any pets now?
Yeah, Andrew, Connor, and Alex. My husband and 2 children. You know, my life is way too busy.
Yeah.
I work 96 hours in every 24-hour period.
Wow.
So it is really too busy to have any pets right now. My kids are still young.
Yeah.
10 and 6 are, and they're the two most irresponsible 10 and 6-year-old you'll find. So they wouldn't be
They'll
taking
get
care. My husband for sure won't be taking care of those pets.
Oh gosh. All right. So when you first moved to Canada, how was the transition here?
You know what? It wasn't a solid move for me. It was sort of a back and forth.
Okay.
So it may be a little bit different from other people. I followed love here, as I said. You know, my husband, he wasn't a big fan of the U.S.
Okay.
And I studied in the U.S. But we grew up together. So we've been together since I was 14 years old. 14. We're still together, still madly in love with each other. Well, I don't know if he's madly in love, but I'm still madly in love with him.
I'm sure he is.
But so when I finished my studies there, the decision was to move to Canada because I really didn't care where we lived.
Yeah.
And then just in my career path, I sort of preferred working in the U.S. So I had moved back for a short while.
Okay.
And so I hadn't fully got engulfed in the Canadian culture at the time because I was still back and forth between U.S. and here.
All right.
And so back in 2016, when 2014, when my first son was born, my second son, was born. That's when I decided I was going to move here full time.
Okay. Okay.
And so it's been different. It's not as fast paced as the U.S.
Okay.
The culture is certainly different. We're a little bit more bold in the U.S., not as bold in Canada, and things that you would do. So I've experienced quite a bit of culture shock in different aspects of where I've moved to in my life. So it's been a bittersweet move for me to Canada. The bitter part is the cold. It's still a bit of adjusting.
You don't get used to it.
No, you don't. But in terms of the family atmosphere, it's good. In terms of the industry, the career industry, you have your ups and downs. You know, you are going to face prejudice.
I was just about to ask.
Not blatant sometimes, but blatant other times. So it definitely has been a path that I have has presented challenges. But for me in life, I don't see challenges. I just see something I'm gonna hurdle over. And it's something that's gonna make me stronger because every time I see a hurdle, I just know that I have to train harder and hit the ground running. So it has had its moments for me, ups and downs, excitement. But for the most part, I'd say I've not made a mistake moving to fully to Canada. I've been enjoying it.
I'm glad. So you did speak a little bit about prejudices. I don't know if you are able to maybe just give us an example of some of the prejudices that you faced like head on.
Well, in general or in Canada?
In Canada.
In Canada.
Yeah.
Some of the things that you will find, there are clients who will come to the clinic and realize one of the fun things I did before COVID is I would go into the exam room. I like to meet the clients into the lobby. Yeah. And then I usher them into the exam room and then, you know, they'll be talking to me a little bit and then they'll be like, oh, when is the doctor coming in? Like right in the next minute. The doctor will be in, and I'll jump outside, and then I'll jump right back in.
Yeah.
And hey, how are you? I'm Dr. Black. But there have been incidences where people recognize that I am the veterinarian and I am Black, and so they have made another choice to move on elsewhere because of they don't want to deal with a Black veterinarian or Black person in general. So not blatant. For the most part, I've had amazing clients, but you do have those. And things that they would pardon another veterinarian for, they're not letting up.
Yeah.
You know, they're not letting up, and so we've
harsher judgment.
Harsh judgment. And again, it's not a distraction. I'm not letting it stop my progress.
I'm glad, because you wouldn't be where you are now if you did.
No, you can't. You can't have sideshows. You definitely can't stop and have distractions, because what sideshows do is that they take you away from the main show, right?
That's true.
And if you're going to accomplish much, you're going to have to stay focused.
That's true. That's very true. So you said, what's the name of your school that you went to in the U.S. again?
I went to the infamous Tuskegee University. And that's in Tuskegee, Alabama. You've probably heard of the Tuskegee Airmen, Booker T. Washington. That all happened in Tuskegee.
Okay. And how was your experience? That's an HBCU.
It is an HBCU, and again, that's an experience in itself.
Okay.
For those who have never been to an HBCU, it's definitely. I think every child should experience, or every Black child should experience, even one semester. At an HBCU. The history is rich. The culture, it's great. You get to see one thing Tuskegee taught me, and I probably didn't recognize until after I left. It taught you how to take a little bit and make much out of it. Because HBCUs are not as funded as state universities and other Caucasian universities and stuff. So you learn to make the most out of very, very little. And so with the lessons that Mother Tuskegee has taught me, I think that's one of the main reasons for my success too, is what being at an HBCU taught you as a Black person, where you are not second. You're equal. You're just as good. And sometimes strive to be better. Not in person, because you're never better as any person, but in terms of your skill set. And when you go out there, don't shun or don't quiver because you're coming out of an HBCU or because you're Black.
You should be proud.
And the other obstacle was because you're a woman or because you're a foreigner. Don't. You literally should use those things to propel you to greatness. And Tuskegee has taught me that.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that my time here in the studio is up for right now, but we'll be back and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that. Pastor D, it's over to you. Are you there?
Check.
I don't really hear you.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. Let me help you out here, brother Prince. Okay. So it's interesting here in the chill room. I have with me here Mr. Black, the husband of our guest, Sasha Black, and Brother Prince, a very well-known gentleman here at Meadowvale, and he was actually passing by, and he said, "Wow, what's this?" He was passing by the chill room, and he said, "Wow, this looks good." I said, "Okay, join us in the chill room," because I know he likes to talk about success stories, etc. So, based on one. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask you, Sir Black. Your wife told us when we were preparing for the interview that you are her tower of strength. You are her main cheerleader, main support. She going on this journey. What has it been like for you supporting her, identifying with her struggles, And I'm assuming that at times you put her, or most of the times, all the times, you put her in front of yourself. Tell us what the experience, a brief synopsis as to what the experience would have been like.
Okay, so first off, just a quick correction. It's Perry.
Perry.
The last name is Perry. Sasha still keeps her maiden name.
Oh, thanks for the correction.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's Sasha Black Perry.
Perry, okay.
Andrew Perry.
Okay.
Right. I mean, to be honest, Sasha doesn't need a lot of support. Because she's very driven. Like, if she said she's going to do something, you can be sure that she is. Where I come in is if she falls short, then I pick up the slack, right? And when she has stressful days, then I'm there to, talk her through it. And sometimes she talked to me about some things, and I give her, an answer, and she's like, "Oh, wow, I like that."
Yeah.
So that's basically, I'm there when she needs me, but she's strong enough to do her thing.
But sometimes that little bit of support, that little bit of encouragement, advice is
Right.
what is needed to continue to go along this very important journey, this very important path.
That's correct.
Thank
She's
you.
very independent. I mean, sometimes she asks me, I think just for the sake of asking me, because she thinks that she wants me to be involved. But for the most part, she'll make it to where she's going.
Sounds good. Brother Prince,
Yes.
as I listen to the success story of Sasha,
Yes.
I think about your daughter, because you
Yes.
have a daughter
Yes.
in Australia,
Yes, a medical doctor.
a medical doctor in
Yes.
Australia.
Yes.
And she experienced, what's the experience there? I'm assuming she experienced much prejudice there.
Much prejudice.
What qualities did you instill in your daughter that propelled her to go after her dreams or aspirations and to be the successful young lady that she is today? What key pointers, advice did you give her growing up?
Well,
Hold the mic closer to you. Yeah.
yeah, she was brought up in Canada. We came here when she was about 1 year old. So we had a lot of, she had a lot of negative experience, so to speak, and we'll start from there. When she was 6 years old, she was placed in, she went to a Catholic school. And we thought basically the Catholic school would have done her well because it's multiple faceted. It's a lot of different cultures and a lot of people. And of course, there's always the danger that it's not, we thought initially it was a Christian school, a Catholic school. But then some of the things that she had faced there, we were quite surprised. For example, when we came from England, 6 years after, she attended a Catholic school in Mississauga. And one day, she went from the school, because they have the young kids always leave the school and go to the parish church. And one day, this was the day that they had chosen to go to the parish church. So I was at home in Mississauga, and something just told me, I went to the corner store to buy a paper. And I saw some kids walking on the high street, so to speak, because I know our school was going to be going to visit the parish, because I think they were trying to teach them about Catholicism and all this sort of stuff, and to show them how the parish worked. So, to my amazement, Pastor, I was in this paper shop, and I saw this class marching across the road, about 400 meters across the road. There were adults in the front, there were adults in the middle, and then there were adults at the back of the class. My daughter wore a red T-shirt. And to my amazement, I saw my daughter at the rear of the class walking down. But that's not what was pronounced. What was pronounced to me was that each child has someone holding their hands, and my daughter was walking alone.
Wow.
So I couldn't believe it. I went into my room. I used to stay with my sister when we just came to this country. And I called my wife and I said, "Baby, you would never believe this. I saw Harriet's class going down to the parish church. And she was walking alone at the back."
Wow. We have to pick up that story when we come back in the children, Brother Prince, and I'm sure you'll also tell us what qualities did you instill in your daughter to keep her strong. But that's a very interesting story. She's walking at the back of the class, walking alone. But today, she's a medical doctor. We're out of time in the children for now, Lexi. A very interesting conversation going on both in the children and in the studio. Over to you, Lexi.
Awesome conversation going on in the chill room. Welcome back. You are a woman of many firsts, correct? Please just list to me the first. I know I'm going to mess up the list if I try. So please.
I'll to remain in humility.
Of course.
I will give you just a few. To start my career, I went into laboratory animal medicine, and that's where we work in research.
Okay.
So we're the driving force in veterinary medicine in the pharmaceutical companies or the universities and all that in the development of drugs and leading medical technology.
Okay.
And so I became a diplomat, board certified laboratory animal veterinarian. So you're a diplomat in the American College of Veterinary Medicine.
Okay.
And I am the first and only black lab animal veterinarian, board certified in Canada. I retired that designation back in 2014 when my second son was born, as I said, when I was entering retirement.
Yes.
I'm also the first and only female black clinic owner, private practice clinic owner in Canada in veterinary medicine. I'm also the only black veterinarian practicing in Durham.
Okay.
We're working on a few right now to come on board with me.
Okay.
So there are a bunch, that in the industries that I've worked as well, different organizations and universities that I've worked into, I was also the first in my positions there as well.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of first and only for me in my career path.
Yeah. So just with being the first and only, how do you feel sometimes? I can just imagine you're like overwhelmed, or I don't know, how would you describe it?
You know, a lot of people will think that when you're a pioneer in things, then it's something great.
Yeah.
You know, sure, maybe from the outside, but sometimes it's a horrible place to be. It's a lonely, stressful place to be sometimes.
Yeah.
Sure, you look strong and you be strong for those who are coming behind you,
of course,
because you're paving the way.
Yeah.
But while you're paving the way, it's lonely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of load. It's a heavy burden to carry as you're going through that path. But I've remained strong. As I said, I have my husband, I have God, who I've always depended on for my source of strength. And you plow through it.
Yeah.
But it's bittersweet. It's bittersweet. You feel great that you've accomplished this. Nobody has done. The final frontier where no man has gone before.
Yeah.
Sort of feeling. But then at the end of every day, you're like, you turn around, left to right, and there's nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
In terms of how did the day go, or did you see that, or did you feel that? No, any feeling or any experience you have on that journey, you got to keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
And in Canada, for me, one thing I've had to do, which it's good that I am able to do that, is I can dial south of the border. Tuskegee University has produced 70% of black veterinarians in the United States of America. And so there are people for me to talk to. I can't look to the Caribbean to talk to my veterinary friends because they don't understand. They don't know what it's like going in North America through that. So you call your friends south of the border and you're able to decompress that way. But in terms of in Canada, there are very few and far between that you can share your experience with and they'll understand.
Yeah. So I can tell that you work a lot and you said you have 96 hours that you fit into a 24-hour day. So how do you just decompress from your day? And my biggest, I think, even though we were so involved with the clinics and our foundation, and
we do real estate and all that.
Wow.
I think the most stressful thing for me is being a mom, but it's also the most satisfying thing. My husband will tell my kids drive me up the wall, but at the same time, even when I'm chasing them or whatever, they're like, "Oh, mommy, I love you."
Yeah.
So that helps me to decompress as well. And then there is Andrew. But one thing I have learned to do is I don't take on the troubles of the world. I don't take on the stress as much. And when it's getting to me, I do call on Andrew, and he'll be my source of strength and talk me through things. But I've learned to separate work from home.
That's good.
I try not to take it home.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair. It's definitely not fair to my family to go through the stress that I've gone through each
In
day.
your day.
Yeah, I love music at the clinic. I'm always singing and dancing.
Yeah.
So, and they just put me onto Spotify. They downloaded Spotify. Yeah, the guys at the clinic downloaded Spotify
You
on
must
my
be
phone.
having a blast.
I know. My kids actually Bluetoothed it to the TV. I didn't even know how that
What?
could work. And they just gave me Netflix. Everybody at work, they're like, "Come on, Dr. Bag, you need to do these things." I don't know when I'll be able to watch the Netflix, but at least the Spotify, I'm able to put that on the music and rock more and sing more as I'm in the
Good.
clinic. But I love to sing and dance, and I depend on God a lot. I literally, when you say leave it at the cross, I leave it at the cross.
Yeah.
Because it's so much. It's mammoth.
Of course.
What I have to deal with each day.
Yeah.
In a 12-hour shift, I deal with 30 to 40, 50 sometimes clients.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
50 emotions
Of
that you're
course.
dealing with each day. And as much as the clients, I also have in one clinic 30 staff reporting into me, and in the other 12 staff reporting into me. So you have that, and then you have all the other things. Your business manager, your accountant, your lawyers,
All the pieces that put it all
everything
together.
to put it together. So you can't stress. You
course.
can't. You have to remain focused and just find different things to put the stress to.
That's true. That's true. And very important lesson. So in all of these business ventures, so you have 2 clinics, right?
Correct.
And you have real estate endeavors. We haven't even touched on all of that. And that's why we want you to come back for part 2. Little tidbit there. But in all of those things, have you ever felt like you were like, this one's not going to work out? Like this is where I lose it. I'm dropping the ball. Like, have you ever had that I'm going to fail feeling?
Every day.
Oh my gosh.
Every day.
Oh my goodness.
You have days, and Andrew can tell you, or my business manager will tell you, I'll call them up, I'm like, I'm selling.
Oh
I'm selling
my
the clinic. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off to Jamaica or to Costa Rica, and I'm just going to live on the beach forever.
done.
I'm done. I've done enough.
Yeah.
So there's failure or on the brink or the cusp of failure almost every day.
Wow.
Almost every day, there are challenges, huge challenges. Sometimes a few $100 failure. Sometimes it's staff failure, client failure. There's all sorts. Sometimes it's hundreds of thousands of dollars failure.
Yeah.
And but you never fail until you stop trying. There's no such thing. I believe that as long as you have breath within you, you cannot fail, or you should not accept failure. All right. Failure is just telling you there's another way of doing something. So I don't accept that word.
Yeah.
My grandfather, I have a T-shirt that I printed. My grandfather, who I said is the reason I'm in veterinary medicine, he says can't is in the book of fools. And so if I accept failure, it just means that I'm accepting the word can't or cannot. And for me, that word doesn't exist. There's absolutely nothing that I've set myself out to accomplish that I've not accomplished or I will not accomplish.
That's amazing.
And so yes, every day, but I'm not giving up. I'm not stopping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a word of inspiration to our youth that are tuning in. You don't stop.
You don't stop.
Yeah.
You don't stop.
Okay.
Now, that little fat lady sing. I may look fat, but I'm not going to sing right now. So we're not stopping.
You're not stopping. Okay. Okay. So you did say that retirement is in your future. So what does retirement look like for you?
It depends on who you talk to.
Yes.
For me, I think in 6 months to a year, I've given myself to sort of step back away from everything, not practice anymore.
Okay.
and sort of manage the businesses and continue to grow and to buy new businesses and develop new businesses and just to have other people in it and not to play that everyday role. But if you ask my husband, if you tell him that and say that he's gonna laugh at you because he says I can't stop. If you ask the guys at the clinic, they're gonna laugh because they're like, Dr. Black's gonna be up in here every day, morning, noon, and night. So I'm like a staple on the wall. So I think it depends on who you talk to, but in my head, what I envision for myself is I am definitely going to take a back seat in practicing. I may practice 1 to 2 days a week, but I want to spend a lot more time growing our foundation. We have the Ask for Hope Foundation, and it's ASK with a C in the S, and it's Alexander, Andrew, Connor, and Sasha. When you look at the words in it, it's the Ask for Hope Foundation. And so I want to spend a lot more time. We do a lot of mission trips and education scholarship funds and all that sort of thing. And I want to have more time devoted to that, especially in this pandemic. We always knew there was poverty, but we've just realized just how much poverty. And I want to spend some more time on that. And I also want to spend some days just doing absolutely nothing.
And you deserve it.
I'm going to learn how to do that, but I want to do that too.
Good. That's awesome. So we're out of time here in the studio. We're going to go over to the chill room, and then we have more questions when we come back.
Sure. Very, very interesting conversation going on there. You never failed until you stop trying. You never fail until you stop trying. Powerful statement. Andrew, so I'm seeing now where both of you are creating, based on the conversation, you're creating an estate, right? Something that, a legacy that will live on, something that's important, very important for the children, etc. Why is it important? Why is this important to create an estate, this kind of legacy? Because I was surprised when I heard that she's planning on just stepping back in 6 months, but the foundation is set. Why is this important to you both?
So, for us, or for me in particular, and Sasha's the same too. We decided that our kids and whoever we're associated with, not just our kids but cousins and whatever, should not have to, work so hard or find it so difficult to accomplish certain things, because we grew up as people of our color. We have it more difficult to acquire anything than a Caucasian, right? Especially in North America.
Yes.
So we decided that we were gonna work as hard as we can, so that our kids don't have to be so challenged to achieve anything. So that was the plan, and we did the best we could. I think we've accomplished what we set out to accomplish. The other day we were talking about buying property in Jamaica, and Sasha was saying, buy 2, 1 for each son. I'm like, okay, you don't necessarily have to do that, but because we have some real estate that should we pass, then the kids will take over that.
Yeah. So some folks. No, I have an important question I want to ask, but I'm almost out of time. I have to jump up, Brother Prince.
Yes.
So, what values did you instill in your daughter's head based on that experience that you shared? Walking across the road, she was at the back of the line.
Yes.
What did you tell her that evening?
Well,
what values did you instill in her?
In fact, my daughter, up to that time, she was.
Hold the mic closer to you. Yeah.
She was a very quiet kid. She would rather the thing not been highlighted, so to speak. So when I spoke to my wife, I told her that, look, I'll really have to go to the school to inquire as to what had actually happened. The only thing my daughter told me when I asked her, well, why was she at the back of the line, and why was nobody holding her hand? She told me that about 3 to 4 days before the entire class, 2 classes, it was 2 junior kindergarten classes, because she was about 6 years old. And they have 3 classes, A, B, and C. And the teachers had actually spoken to the children before, asking them to choose a partner. And she told me nobody chose her. I said, what? I said, why is that? She said, she don't know, but nobody chose her.
Wow.
So I went to the school the next day and spoke to the teacher behind. My kid didn't want me to do that. Well, I went to the school and I spoke to the principal. I had an audience with him. And then he told me, well, you know what, kids are kids and I should not get into the business of kids and how the teachers run the school.
So they have a point, and that might be true. But what did you tell your child?
The truth of the matter is, Pastor, I didn't want to leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because at the time when I came here, we came to this country in 1990, and every week police shoot a black kid. Or every day you hear on the news how kids are no good. And in the academic circles, they were only good for doing sports, for running, playing basketball, or doing track and field. So I just sort of try to differentiate between those false values and my own child. My child was, my wife and myself, we had taught her how to be comprehensive in terms of reading, writing, and maths, and so on. So she has some confidence, although she was quite shy. So from that tender age, she was quite capable academic-wise, but she had some doubts about her surroundings because, you know, she was very smart. She saw how people had treated people of different color. And as a result of that, she was quite apprehensive. When she approached whites, she was quite shy and she wasn't certain as to what the reception would be, even at that age. Yes. So as she progressed to the senior Catholic school, we still had problems. Our grades were quite good, and when she had wanted to get into the University Western, there was a little bit of a problem because
I don't want it to reach there yet,
Yes,
Brother
okay,
Prince,
okay.
the University of Western. I'm
Yes.
going to come back to that, and I have an important question for you. When we, I think we have 1 or 2 more segments left in the chill room. Lexi, I'm coming back over to you right now. Over to you, Lexi.
All right. Welcome back. So right before we hopped over to the chill room, we were talking about your retirement and what that would look like for you. So I can definitely say that the world has changed in the past 8 months, 9 months, right? So the way you've done business has had to change, right? So how have your businesses been affected by COVID-19 and how have you been coping with that?
Well, prior to COVID, the steps that were put in place, you know, if there is a time of a little bit of course, uncertainty. And so what we did, veterinary medicine always gets one of the first hits because in any recession, you think about you know, people thinking, okay, am I going to pay my rent, my mortgage, put food on the table, or am I going to take my pet to the vet and pay? So that's always in every recession that has happened. Veterinary medicine has taken that hit. COVID is the first recession where veterinary medicine has spiked.
Wow.
And what we did, we don't have people in, so we adopted the whole telemedicine that human physicians have done. We've done curbside. Where we have the pets come in the building, but we have the clients stay outside, and we talk to them either by phone or we will go outside and, you know, social distance. But one of the things that COVID has done is that COVID has caused vacations to halt. The travel industry, of course, has been hit and all that. So people don't go on vacations as much anymore. People don't go to the malls or so. So they find it much easier now, and they're spending a lot more time at home with their pets, and they're seeing things. So before that, you know, they would see the pet at the end of every day or before they leave. So they wouldn't observe a lot of changes in their pet's behavior. And so now, with a lot of people being at home in COVID, they're paying more attention, and so they're realizing that their pets aren't as healthy as they thought they were, and so we're seeing more and more owners come in with their pets to be seen and to be checked in, and they have the time now, because before you used to have to take time off to go to the vet. So we're benefiting.
That's good.
We're benefiting from COVID. We've had to do a lot of adjustment. It wasn't a whole bloom at the beginning. We had to make changes as we saw where we weren't doing well in one area or doing better in another area. So as the days and the months progressed, we had to alter and make those necessary changes to be able to capitalize on what was going to be happening in this current economy. Because even though people aren't traveling, I'm not saying they have a lot of money. It's not like they don't.
Yeah.
It's just that, we're able to work a little bit better with them and get them to accomplish what needs to be accomplished where their pet's health is concerned.
Okay. So this has been a not too bad period.
Not too bad in terms of business, but bad now because no longer do I work 96 hours in one day. I work about 120 hours in one day.
Wow.
So it's become a lot more busy. Andrew and the kids, they rarely get to see me because I've just been putting in so much time, and because it's so busy, we have to decide, am I going to increase my team? So we've had to triple the team in certain areas, in like the reception. We've had to double up on the animal care assistants and all that. So we've had to sort of see, okay, where do you grow, where do you not grow, because you can't jump at every time that you see a growth spurt or whatever. You have to be very smart to analyze each day and see where you're going to capitalize on in terms of not blowing the money that you're now making back through the door.
Of course.
And speaking of which, I just remembered, you said first, the King Hopkins location is the only 24/7 clinic in Durham.
Wow.
We're the only 24/7 operation there. And Millennium City is the only exotic clinic in Durham as well. So again, as I said, I'm going to remain in my humble chair where I don't want to say all the things that we're the only or the first in. But we're doing all right.
You're in the top tier for sure.
For the last 3 years in a row, or 2 years in a row, in the top 3 rated, Millennium has been in the top 3 in Pickering, and King Hopkins has been in the top 3 in Whitby.
That's
so
amazing.
we work hard. The team works very hard because I can't do it without my team.
Of course.
I'm literally like a minuscule component of the success of those 2 clinics, and so they've done an amazing job.
Wow. I'm glad to see that there are businesses that, especially Black businesses, that are flourishing in this time when there's so much uncertainty. So I'm really, really happy about that. What is your greatest achievement?
I've had a lot of really, really good achievements in my life, but my greatest achievement and my greatest success story that I feel very, very proud of is that I was able, and I'm still able, and I'm working still, to put myself in a position where I can be of influence to others, where I can help people.
Yeah.
In growing up, my granddad and, I have 3 mothers, fortunately, when I was growing up, and they've always put themselves last, and they've always put people first, and they're always for the cause.
Yeah.
Growing up, my granddad, the church never had to ask him twice for anything.
Of course.
And he had a trucking company, and anything the church wanted, he just donated.
Yeah.
No matter how much, he literally, all the material, everything, just dump it there, it's for free.
Yeah.
And so that's what I wanted to be. So a lot of people were excited about becoming a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher, whatever, a carpenter. I just wanted to be in a position where I could carry on the legacy of my granddad, where I can help people. And so that's where Andrew and I very big on, where our family, we can be there and provide that sort of ease for them. And we're still working on it, that sort of ease where they don't have to, the generations coming behind us will be able to provide some sort of easy way for them. The book of Proverbs says that a wise man, literally leaves an inheritance for his children's children. Yeah. And, we look at Connor and Alex and we tell them that, they will have to try very hard to finish what we've left or we're leaving for them. And if they act foolish, we're not leaving anything for them.
Yep.
we're going to be donating it all into charity, and we're very serious about that.
Yeah.
You know, we've set up our will and everything already. You know, where if they're very serious, they have all the companies to run and stuff, but we want them to also understand the efforts that we've put into it. And we also want them to carry on the legacy. And so every mission trip we go on, since those kids were yee-high, they're there with us, and they have to participate in the mission trips and the charity efforts that we're a part of. And so that is my greatest achievement, is that we're able to help causes readily right now, and we're able to just make somebody's future brighter. If I have lived for 24 hours, we're given 24 hours in any one day, and if 24 hours passes, any 24, and I've not done anything to help somebody or to make somebody even smile or feel better, I feel I've wasted an entire 24 hours. And so I will keep doing it. That's what I'll keep doing, is my and I'm going to keep achieving, where I can not just help a few, but many, and as I said, generations to come. After Andrew and I pass, we want the children to continue, and their children to continue, our foundation to live on, where others' lives can be blessed and to be changed.
Of course, you've definitely given back to your community, to worldwide, your community worldwide, and I can say that you're an inspiration, because I met you an hour ago, and I'm sitting here in awe and inspired. So you've definitely done what you set out to do. My last question for you, as time is running out, and hopefully we will have you back, just any words of advice for youth who are thinking about starting a business, or even youth that are a little nervous about being a first or being an only in their field or in their area of expertise. Just any words of advice?
Yeah, Nike, just do it. Just do it. You know, it's good to be nervous.
Yeah.
You know, when you're nervous, it means that you're not cocky. It means that you haven't gone beyond yourself yet.
Course.
You know, you still have that I guess humility left in you. So it's okay to be nervous, because you know, when you're nervous, you're gonna put the work in.
Yeah.
You're gonna do the necessary research. You're gonna do what's necessary, because when you're beyond that, you're just gonna jump and do, just because you think you're gonna accomplish it. And I could tell you, even when you put a lot of effort and work into something, it could go wrong. It could go seriously wrong.
Yeah.
And you know, Andrew will tell you that I'm kind of suicidal in our business endeavors and stuff. And he always says, either I will make us very broke or very rich. because of the slippery slopes that we've done. And I would say go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. When we started, and you're right, we have to do another show. But real quick, when we started our real estate journey, nobody saw the dream. Nobody, you know, his parents, my family, they're of the old school. You don't borrow from the bank. You don't put yourself at risk, you know, get in debt and all that sort of thing.
Of course.
And, you know, Dahlia Black, one of my mothers who grew me, she says, if you don't borrow from the bank, nobody will know you, you know? So, you know, it's those school of thought where we literally approached everybody with ideas and stuff, and nobody bought into it.
Wow.
And one day he and I just said, listen, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. And the next time you have me on, I'll tell you how we bought our first property with $200 in the bank.
Oh
but do it. Just go out there. Be crazy, but be sensible at the same time. Be determined. Let nobody stop you. We've been told how many times, before I was 12 years old, I was told 3 times by the same person that I would come out to nothing in life. Even while we were accomplishing, I was still told I would come out to nothing in life. And so, you know, don't let that stop you. As a matter of fact, let that be your driving force. You know, just go. Just jump in. Put one foot. Where do I start? The beginning. Start from your beginning. Write it down. Write your plan. Start with your why. Find out your why. Because you shouldn't want to do something just because everybody else is doing it, or because it's going to put you in line with the Joneses and all that. Find a purpose, your true why. And once you have your why, then nothing will stop you. Nothing will stop you. Have fun with it. When you get up out of bed every morning, you jump out. You can't want to accomplish and drag yourself out of bed and snooze. You can't snooze your alarm. You got to get up. That's snoozers are for losers. All right? You can't snooze. So if anybody out there who snooze, stop it. You know, when the world is sleeping, you got to be up. You
Yeah.
got to be planning. The heights by great men reached and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upwards through the night. And that is what I will leave with the young people.
Thank you so, so much for being here, and we really, really hope to have you back because your story is inspirational, and I really want to know how you bought a property with $200 in the bank. Absolutely. So we're going to hop over to the chill room, and after that, we're going to be closing out on the main stage, Pastor D and I. Thank you so much, Dr. Black, for being here again. Pastor D, are you hearing me?
Lexi,
Okay.
Whoa. So much information, so much good vibe, a wealth of knowledge. So, Mr. Perry, the question, we're trying to get a young person who has a question for you on Zoom, but I'm not seeing. I don't think it's coming through. So I'll ask the question for her. She sent it. Let me. If you encourage, Mr. Perry, if you and your wife encourage your kids to take over the business, and then she's asking, like, if you tell your kids, like, hey, you have to be a vet, but to take over the business, do you teach your children? Your wife said it, if you're snoozers are for losers. So is this instilled in your children? Hey, no, it's time for you to wake up, and is it that you are passing on to your children this important legacy?
Well, it's interesting because I know for sure that my youngest, he's very responsible with finances, and my oldest is not.
Okay.
Not that we're not instilling it in their, in them to be very responsible. I talk to them. Sasha and I talk to them about finances. I read a lot of books. Sasha reads a lot of books on how to grow the kids, right? And by the grace of God, hopefully we'll achieve it. But they also go on mission trips with us.
Good.
And the importance of the mission trip is so that they can see what other kids are going through and that they can see what we do and assist so that they don't take things for granted.
Good.
Right? But we're trying our best. We tell them every day that it's not all free. They have to work for everything that they're going to receive. And if they don't do the work, that they may not get what we have. We may just pass it on to one of the charter organizations that we deal with.
Wow. So if they don't do the work.
Yeah.
You tell your kids.
Yeah,
if they
we
don't
tell them
do it,
that.
they're not getting anything.
They're not getting anything.
You pass it on to the charter organization.
Right.
So it's
They
not
have
like
to
it's not like
understand.
because that was something I wanted. It's not like a thing like, hey, this is just going to be handed down to you just
No.
like that. You have to learn certain work ethic.
Right.
Wow, powerful. Brother Prince, yes. I think, is Jadeja there?
Jadeja.
No, okay. Brother Prince.
Yes.
Yeah. Your daughter.
Yes.
What did you instill in her? Like when all of this happened, she has grown now, she has blossomed. She's a doctor in Australia. Another, it's a prejudice environment also.
Indeed.
And I'm assuming that she's, by God's grace, she's coping. But what were the key tenets that you placed in her that from a young age, growing up, teenage years, what were some of the important values that you placed in her that you believe is keeping her focused right now?
There are two things that are important. A child has to know their own, not only their own abilities, but a child has to be confident in themselves.
Confidence in yourself.
Yes, and my daughter had confidence, and she had faced some challenges, and my wife and myself, we guide her through those to let her know that until the day you go into the grave, you'll always be having people who are working contrary to your own development.
Mm-hmm.
So you will meet roadblocks in every stage of life. So she knew all along that
So self-confidence,
self-confidence,
the first one.
and yeah, believe in yourself and know exactly what you want. You have to know exactly where you want to go. If you know where you want to go, then all that's before you is the focus to get from A to B.
And
And she knew that.
have you taught her that snoozers are for losers? When time for you to get up out of
Well,
bed,
I
you
didn't
get
have
out
to
of
teach
bed.
her. She knows that from she knows that from where, if she would get grades that weren't acceptable, she would know that.
Yeah.
So she had worked very hard. As a matter of fact, one of the few problems that I had with my daughter was that she was strong-willed and she had burned a lot of electricity. From she was a baby, from she was 9 years old, and we had turned to bed by reading Bible story. Sometimes Bev would see a light on in her room and said, "Well, it's 2 o'clock. What is that light doing in there?" And she would quickly put her little book that she's looking at under our thing and pretend she was asleep. So she knew what hard work was. When she was getting into the age 17, 18, I had some really serious problems with her because oftentimes at night, 3 o'clock, she would be in her room. The light is on and she's reading. And then when she's supposed to go to school at 7:45, she's struggling. So she was very disciplined in getting through her schoolwork.
Okay.
So that was
We're going to hop into the Zoom chill. We'll be zooming into the surge right now. It's a new feature, zooming into the surge as we wrap up the chill room. We have someone there. We answered the question earlier, but we'll still be zooming into the surge. Oh, hi, Jadeja.
Hi.
So we are talking a little bit. I know you sent another question when you saw we answered the first one about getting up snoozers. Snoozers are for losers, meaning that we're supposed to get up out of our beds whenever the alarm goes off. You're a young person, Jadeja. I believe you're in college now, and you're a very brilliant young lady. You have a very, very bright future based on how I see you operate and stuff. Have you sat down and thought about the future, like where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And if you did so, why was this important?
Yes. It's very funny that you asked that question to me. That question, I always hear it in high school and just, as I was growing up in, the early teenager stages, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And that question was always really scary to me because I'm like, I don't know. Like, I really don't know. And at that time, I had a lot of interests that I just didn't really, I didn't really know where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So that question was just always a blur for me. And it was a blur. Recently, I got myself some mentors because I know that I have a lot of potential. I know that I do. I've done, I've not to brag, but I've hosted shows and I love public speaking. So I know that I have potential, but it's like I just didn't. I don't know. It was just, I guess, a fear of just going out and trying something new or just, doing something. So I got mentors and we talked a lot about, making a vision board because it's so important to just wake up every morning and kind of, that self-talk to kind of get you pointed in the right direction. So I actually did, on a Google Docs, I open it up every morning and the question really is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I have, some bullet points of, where I'd like to be and my goals and my affirmations. So that that's literally a part of my day every single day, to kind of get me focused. And whenever I get distracted, I open back up my laptop or I just think of those, to keep them with me in the day. But yeah, I look at those at least 3 times a day to just kind of keep me steering in the right direction.
Wow, powerful, powerful, Jadeja, powerful. We are out of time. We went overtime in the chill room, and for the first time, we had someone zooming into the search. This will be a new feature. Next week and moving forward, we'll have more folks zooming into the search. Thanks for zooming in, Jadeja. I appreciate your input. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the chill room. You shared invaluable information with us this evening, and I'm sure the youth who would have watched here at this church and all around the world would have taken this sound advice from you both. Thank you so much. Lexi, over to you for the last words from Dr. Black in studio. Over to you.
And we're here. Dr. Black, thank you again for being here. Is there any last words you would like to say to our viewing audience?
No, as I said, I just want everybody to feel that they can accomplish. There's a lot of Black Lives Matter going around, and seeing that we're trying to encourage Black people. It's good to see that it's taking the effect that it is. But one of the nice things is that Black people more and more are realizing that they can do much, and they were created for greatness. And so, I'm just going to tell everybody out there, we can do it. And the fact that we can do it is the reason why we were in slavery for so long, because we built all these different nations.
Yeah.
We have the physical strength, we have the emotional strength for all that we've been through, and our foreparents were able to survive it and to pass it on to us. There is absolutely nothing that a Black person wants to accomplish that they can't accomplish.
It's true.
We have God as in the forefront, and then we have a strong heritage to ride on. And what I would say is, let's not use slavery as any hindrance. Let's use it as a driving power, so that Black lives and all lives will accomplish what we want to accomplish.
Thank you so much, Dr. Black. With God before me, nothing can stand against me. We'll be back in 2 seconds, folks, with Pastor D on stage.
Wow, powerful.
It was
interview.
a great story.
Great story. I deliberately asked for her to share last words again, because I want her to kind of reiterate what she would have said before. It was so, snoozers are for losers. Get up out of the bed.
She has a lot of things to tell us, a lot of things to say. I feel like I got schooled.
Yeah. So for most of the folks are saying that they want us to, at least for another 2 shows, to continue with success stories before we move on to other topics. I'm hoping that Dr. Black can come in, possibly next week for a part 2.
That would be great.
Also, our conference president, Dr. Edwards,
Okay.
he has a powerful success story, and he should be in studio with us in 2 weeks.
All right.
So
Lots to look forward to.
there's lots to look forward to. Because guess what? This is Upsurge. Real people, real conversations, real questions, real answers, real issues. Upsurge, where the surge is always up, and it's a wrap.